Welcome to the Amanda Effect, where I thrive to inspire, encourage, and uplift you through life's journey. I'm here to help educate you on self-improvement in life's different categories, including family, careers, relationships, mental health, and so much more. So let's get started because I'm excited for you to feel the Amanda Effect. Hello, and welcome to the Amanda Effect. Topher thinks he's funny today. I am your host, Amanda Dukes, and my crazy co-host, Topher. I asked him for good energy, so he's being a smart aleck, as he normally is. How are you this morning?
I'm great. I am sorry to all of our viewers and listeners that I have to wear my glasses because... Listen, y'all, I watched our playbacks and I looked like I owed like 12 people child support and that something was medically wrong with me.
Not even.
But I couldn't see it, so I was like, it was either like this or y'all. But glasses it is.
I would like to let y'all know I've told him several times this is an authentic podcast. He can wear his glasses. We are a forgiving audience. So don't let me down, y'all. Be forgiving.
Please.
So today we are going to be talking a little bit about parenting, but something more specific about conscious parenting. If you're not 100% on what that is, it's basically, it's kind of the new way, I guess, to parent. But to me, I feel like it's parenting with a purpose, which is essentially what conscious means. You're consciously parenting in a certain way that aren't your traditional styles of parenting that people have called traditional because that's how they grew up.
Is it traditional or is it just old school parenting?
I think it's old school. Well, same thing to most people. That literally is kind of the same definition. If it's traditional, it's old school because it's what they've been doing for years and years and years. So that would make it old.
Fair enough.
So I'm gonna get like a mic just to do that, anyways. So this is kind of something newer that I feel like is bigger with our generation. Starting with us, but I definitely feel like the Gen Zers are going to take this and run with it because
I need them to hold off on having babies, though.
We're not going to do that today. We're not going to do that today. But we want to hold off because you have so much to do to offer the world. So that's why. Did I clean it up okay? No. All right. So yeah, the newer generations, like our generations, are practicing this type of parenting style more and more because I don't know about you, but it's for me, it's because I need to break some of these generational curses. I need to break what we have been conditioned to feel like is normal and what's going on. Our parents grew up in a very different time. I think that it definitely had to be a little bit more hardcore. The crust had to be a little bit tougher. Now we have options for things. We have more things at our disposal, more capabilities to do things in different ways. So I'm trying to do that with my children. And don't get me wrong, I started off, the way that I was raised, a traditional way of parenting. But the older they get, I did not beat my kids. So he needs to stop. But the older that they get, the older I get, the more that I realize this is not really necessary. And truthfully, what really sparked it is when I started, really focusing on my mental health and unpacking a lot of my childhood traumas to realize that parenting will always play a part in the damage and the traumas that you had in your life. I'm not saying parents are to blame for everything. I'm just saying that's just reality. Like a lot of times we have to really go back and unpack everything that we thought was normal in our childhood. And you talking to other people and they're like, nope, that didn't happen in my household.
I always say that as an adult, you have to go back in and check in on that little boy or that little girl to know and let them know that you're in a better place. 100%. It sounds weird, but you have to tell them that you're okay.
It to me, it's kind of like I said, I always tell people, you have to fully feel the pain for the pain to finally cease. Like to stop giving the pain power, you have to feel it all the way. And I know that sounds silly, but the longer you're not feeling it completely, the more it stays around. It's like
Yeah.
not finishing your dinner. You could take a tiny bite every day, but it's gonna be there longer, longer, longer. And guess what? That food's gonna get worse and worse and worse as the time goes on. That's essentially what pain does. So you have to fully feel it. As kids, we don't process that stuff right, especially pain that's, we were not able to process that mentally properly, that pain, that trauma, whatever happened. So when we get older, it's just stuck. It's stuck there. So you have to go back and, like you said, go talk to him and say, hey, we're okay now. You're good. We're going to accept this. We're going to feel it. And now we're going to see what we can do better and move on. So
Yes.
to me, for conscious parenting to work, you have to do that with yourself first, because you will spill your pain onto your kids, whether you mean to or not.
Amen.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable for anybody, and that doesn't mean you're the worst parent or anything like that. I need to make sure that you guys understand. As always, this is coming from a loving and educating point of view. It's to inspire you to stop for a minute, take a look at yourself, and evaluate. Am I doing this? What am I doing? What can I do better? Shoot, I'm doing this good. I didn't even know. And then you can maybe go back and thank your parents for a couple of things, like, man, I didn't know most people weren't doing this, so I appreciate you guys for doing that work already. This is not all bad. All this is to, make you guys stop and think a little bit. All right, so please don't take offense, because I promise you I'm going to share a little bit about myself, which I already have, about the yelling and everything like that. So you guys already know. I don't pretend that I'm perfect. I don't want to be set high on a high horse. That's too hard to maintain. I'm a work in progress. So we just gonna work together is all. I'm trying not to fiddle with my hair, y'all. I need you to understand this, but it's not helping because this one curl, I don't know what it's doing. All right, I think I fixed it. My hair looks good though, right?
Get it together.
Listen. I waited a good minute before I actually said anything about my hair, but I told you I was going to be in here in all different forms, though. So, to start, Topher, you should have prayed before I hit record, sir.
I probably should have.
So to start, are you a conscious parenter?
My wife is more than I am, but I am getting better.
So you thrive to be, you trying to be.
Yes, okay. Because I always look at it as nobody wants to parent like the way that their parents parented, to some extent.
True.
And so if I look at the way that I was raised, I'm running like Forrest. And that is no offense to my parents, but I'm running. So I try, because especially with having a boy, life is different for them, and especially a brown boy. So life is really different.
Yes. I have me a little dark brown boy myself, and it is very different. Because there's a fine line that we have to toe that I don't think people think about. And there's a lot of times when I try to explain to my white side of the family about, how I have to be careful about what I do and what I say to him, because although I don't want to induce fear into him, or talk to him about things too early, but there are some things that he's going to need to be aware about, so he knows how to carry himself, how to conduct himself, because unfortunately, he has an extra burden on his back that he didn't ask for. And I can't do anything about that right now. Of course, the world is trying. We are trying to, break these horrible racist cycles. But at the moment, I can't. So I have to prepare him. And I think parenting is preparing your kids for the world. So that's what I feel like I have to do is best. But of course, I've gotten called a fear monger, and I'm causing a problem where there is not one. But those are opinions. And truthfully, opinions that don't belong there. They just don't belong there. Like, you just can't, unless you are a parent of a Black child or you're Black yourself, I don't think that opinion.
Even if you are, every kid is different and every household is.
True. That's true, but
So
your opinion would hold some type of weight if you understood
not
it.
at not
You've
at my
never
house.
been Black. No, you would have it. It would not that it has to. Okay, true. It doesn't have to hold weight, but they can form some type of an opinion. To me,
Yes.
you don't. I don't know how you have an opinion on something you've never experienced. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Let me back off.
We
Dang.
actually no. That is definitely one of the biggest topics. I think me and my sister have talked about it before, but I want to go deeper into that on how opinions, your opinion does not belong everywhere. Of course. Okay. So, yes, we're human. We're going to have opinions. We're going to have thoughts about stuff. That doesn't mean you're entitled to it. And we're going to pause that there because this ain't that podcast. But add that to the list. Matter of fact, we are absolutely going to add that to the list because that's important. And I think people need to hear that because you've been, again, just one of those things we were taught over the years. Oh, you're allowed to have your opinion. Mm-hmm. You absolutely are. God gave us all, minds to have opinions, but that don't mean you're entitled to place it everywhere because it doesn't belong everywhere. Okay. Well,
Y'all see that attitude and that
thank
sassiness and that
you for
straight hair
coming.
today?
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No. But so conscious parenting. Now, I definitely am trying to practice these, and I'm not an extremist. I'm not like no conscious parenting at all. Oh my gosh, I'm so conscious. I'm very big on understanding that there's a middle ground somewhere. So, although I don't agree with all conscious parenting techniques, I definitely believe that there are some that are for me and will benefit my kids. So, I encourage you guys to do your research and look up what that is and what's going to fit for your household and your beliefs. I'm not asking you to go against your beliefs, but I'm asking you to look at this in a deeper manner because parenting it shouldn't be taken lightly. I think we forget that these are little human beings. These are not they're not our servants. They're not here for us to just bully and boss around because honestly, kids, most of the time, their first bully is their parents. Second, very close second is the siblings, but that doesn't change. That's a whole nother topic. But
I'm running already.
you're running?
Yeah, that was like, ouch.
Oh, well, I mean, because the things we think are funny, really, some may not be funny to kids, but we're teaching that things are okay. For instance, and Topher, I know you told me a story the other day, so I swear this is not an attack against you. You can ask any of my family members. I absolutely, I've said this before. I read somewhere that tickling is something that predators do to get kids to trust them. And everybody knows that sexual predators most of the time are family members or people that are close to you. So they're around your child more often. I had a girl. My first baby is a girl. And so I took all this stuff really seriously. And I had her at 19. So when I heard that, nobody was allowed to tickle my kids. Do not tickle my child because I never want them to run into a situation where they think it's okay. I got backlash like days, like for years. They probably still talking about me, how I don't like it. I won't even let them tickle each other. Like I just first of all, I don't like being tickled. I don't care what anybody says, that's torture. Nobody enjoys it because they're giggling. It's just a reaction. That it's not fun. Please, if there's somebody out there who enjoys being tickled, like let me know because you'd be the first person I've ever met who's like, oh my God, I love to be tickled. No, I don't. Like it's annoying and I get violent if you tickle me. I'm laughing and swinging, laughing.
Well, okay. Nobody don't apparently tickle me Elmo was not your friend, and I understand. Okay.
No. You can tickle Elmo, you just can't tickle my kids.
No, so no, like I get that. And just to help America understand, so we practice consent with our child.
Mhm.
And so I was tickling him and he said stop. Now he was still laughing, and so
See?
don't be giving me that look. Dang, like I already got yelled at by my wife about it. Dang. So, but he did say stop. He said stop 3 times. And so finally she was like, Christopher, consent. And he was like, yeah, consent. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm out. My bad. Like, I'm done. But I mean, like, it was true. But then, like last night, I was tickling his feet, and then he was tickling my feet, and then I was like on my computer doing something, and so like I put my feet like in the couch, and he was like, Dad, I want to tickle your feet. And I said, no, like that's not the game I'm playing. And then he was like, okay. And I was like, oh, like it works.
Oh, the student has become the master. Okay. No.
Yeah, basically. And he left it alone, and that's but like that's what you
Yeah,
want.
exactly. 100%. I do that with my son when him and his sister get to roughhousing and play fighting and stuff like that. He doesn't have a stop button. Like he's one of those kids who just keeps going because he's having fun. He's a rough young boy. And I don't know why she starts with it in the first place, because she's literally done within 2 seconds. She wants to get her hits in and leave. And I'm like, stop starting it if you don't want to continue. Listen, I was the rough kid. I was the one who kept going. So, but when I was
That
like,
must mean that Aaron was like, you know what, let me just knock your head off your shoulders real quick, and then I'll see you tomorrow.
probably. No, actually, like that's kind of accurate, I think.
Yes. Yes.
You don't know us. Like, all right.
Just saying.
Anyways, so when he's doing that, I constantly tell him, like, she says stop, you'll have to stop. Even if you're not done, like that's not okay. You have to stop. It's just, if she's like jumping on her back, and she's riding him around like a horse, and she's like, okay, buddy, I'm done. And he's like, no, keep going. I'm like, AJ, like she said she was done. Like, she doesn't want you on her no more. You have to respect that. Just those tiny things, you guys, are going to make so much more difference in their life that they're not even going to realize it.
Especially with boys. It's so important. It's
So
just
incredibly important. This ain't that podcast. But I ain't coming at nobody's mama, so I'm gonna just shut up. Because
yeah, this ain't that today, y'all.
oh, we're just gonna over, because nobody asked me, so I'm just no pause, because this is also my podcast.
Nope.
I'm gonna know just a piece of it though. So I'll speak to the ladies in a sense of, you have young men. So you guys, I think all of us have dealt with, men just being completely disrespectful or not respecting it when you say, no thanks. Say, I want to buy you drinks. No, I'm good. Oh, you stuck up? Sure. If that's what you need to tell yourself, because that's why I don't want you buying me a drink, then sure, absolutely. Since your mama never taught you how to take rejection, I'll be stuck up. That's fine. But just little things like that. It just means no. It doesn't have anything to do with your character or anything like that. It just simply means, I don't want you to buy me a drink. I'm not interested.
There's a favorite line of mine from a movie, and Jesus forgive me, but it is a really good movie, America.
He's telling me like we on Good Morning America outside.
Hey, I'm speaking this into existence and fruition.
Yes.
Anyhow, but it's a players club, and Ebony says N-O. Yeah, like she is very
This
clear.
didn't go where I thought it was going.
I said it's a good movie though, but anyhow, but like she says N-O, a swear word, can't you hear? And like I think it's like one of my favorite lines from the movie, because it's true, and I just don't feel like a woman should have to be that aggressive to a man if his parents would have taught him the right way.
Exactly, because at the same time, our parents are teaching us, to be polite. You can say no, thank you. You don't have to be rude. However, if I continually notice that me being rude is helping me get to my point quicker, you're gonna get rude off cuff, and then the poor guy who would have actually taken the polite no, thank you, is now getting told off for no reason.
Yes,
so
because his mama raised him right, and he was like, "All right, I'm good," but Bobby over here is just pressing the issue, and it's not necessary. I don't know where I got Bobby from.
I don't know why we have to name things. We would get in trouble one time. All right. So for me, that's just one way, but we're gonna go ahead and really dive in deep into the big one that I think is the biggest challenge for most people when it comes to conscious parenting or whether they agree or disagree with it. It's whoopings, y'all. So I started out parenting with all intentions on whooping my kids. Now, I always said I would never actually whoop them with something like a belt or anything like that. I don't believe in it. It to me that's a weapon and unnecessary. And you'll hear people tell me that's dramatic. Oh my God, it's a weapon. Yes, yes, it is. What point would you need to hit an 8-year-old with a belt? You mean to tell me you couldn't handle it? You ain't strong enough to hit them and they get the point? Oh, okay, just checking. The only reason you're doing that is because that's what's done to you. And I'm not really sure exactly why it was done to you, but I'm sorry for it. But I just don't think it's necessary. There are ways to get your point across without doing that. And the same token, we will then turn around and teach these kids that hitting isn't the answer. Violence isn't the answer. But every time they need punished, that's the exact punishment they get. Make it make sense, people. You kind of have to pick one. Either you gonna go ahead and promote violence all the way or do it in a strategic manner. And now, don't get me wrong, I think that there's room for violence in certain situations. I just do. I'm not that parent who just thinks, no, violence is never the end. No, absolutely not. I wasn't raised that way either. So go ahead and tell your child if they come up my kids crazy, they have full-fledged permission to lay them out if said necessary thing was happening. But for me, as far as punishments go, no, I don't. Now they will get snatched back into reality, so I can talk to them face to face. But to like haul off and like whoop them, continuously spanking them, absolutely not. That's not something that I do. It doesn't get through. Now with my son, I've definitely noticed I have to snatch him back to reality more.
Stop saying that.
Well, I don't know what else to say because I do like snatch him up. I don't know what to say. I like literally have to bring him close so he knows it's serious. But my daughter
Did you ever get pulled by your ear?
No, actually, my ears are really sensitive. No, because I would really hurt.
Yeah, you don't know. Being snatched, that's like a trigger.
I didn't snatch his ear.
It doesn't matter if you say you're gonna, snatch them back to reality. But yeah, like my mom, she used to pull her ear so hard, like you could feel it pop.
Oh,
if you weren't listening, and it would be like in church. I'd be like, "Don't you know Jesus is watching you?"
My mom used to pinch back here. This is still a sensitive area for me because she always used to get me right. Y'all never was shutting up. I told y'all I have the gift of gab, so I was always talking. So she wanted me to stop. She would like just usually it was like in the grocery store or somewhere. She would literally pinch back like it's sore. I can't even do this. Like it's sore back here still from her doing that. Like
moms, we not coming for you. We sorry. We just using examples.
I gave my mom a warning about my podcast. Like there's something I talk about.
I did not. I did not talk to my mom yesterday, so I'm just saying.
There was a one-time disclaimer. Like I explained to her with me having a podcast, there were things that were going to come up that I was going to talk about. That it wasn't shots at her. We moved past and constantly done it, but it's part of my story, so I feel like it's important to talk about. So absolutely sorry. I don't know why my dog is barking.
But
this could get interesting. But so that's just not something that I agree with. And everybody wants to say, well, I got whooped in and I turned out just fine. I have a problem with that whole statement. Can you guess what it is, Topher?
No. You turned out just fine.
That's the fine part. I want my kids to be more than fine. I want my babies to thrive. I want them to be great. Yes, we turned out fine. I think I'm doing pretty good for myself. However, it took me a while to get here. As far as where I could have been. Black people, we constantly talk about, making sure our kids have a fair shake. Starting with their mental health is probably where we're going to need to go because the world is going to try and crush them at every chance that they get. So why would they not want to come home and have that comfortability, that safe space? I understand that we feel like we have to be, rough and tough. And I think maybe back then there was a purpose for it because of how the life was treating them and how even more aggressive the world was doing them. So I understand that there was a time and a place, and I'm not, trying to downplay anybody's parenting. Again, I understand you did the best with what you had, what you knew. I don't think I don't think most parents, I ain't gonna say all, I don't think most parents have the intention on damaging their kids. I don't think that they're like, just don't care if they damage them. I really don't believe that at all. So I understand that these are not things that were done on purpose, but that's why it's called conscious parenting, where we want
Yeah,
to
and
make
I think that
consciously doesn't keep happening.
yeah, and I think that when it comes to whoopings, there is just a real fine line, you
Mm,
know,
agreed.
because like my brother and I were physically abused by our father. But if you ask our father, he would say it was just a normal whooping.
Probably wasn't nothing compared to what he got.
But when you leave a kid black and blue, and I'm already brown, so and I've always been this shade. I ain't never been no lighter except for when I was born. So I'm just saying, like when you leave a kid that way, and my brother is darker than me, so like
Mhm.
what is it just doesn't make sense to me
Yep.
on where you think that that was just a normal spanking, a normal whooping, and things like that. So now, granted, now I do understand that like he had things that he probably still has not worked out, and that's on him. But I also know that like you can't just say it was a normal spanking. So like that's where like I come in, and I just like have to look at it like what is normal, because truthfully, to some people out there, even a smack on the hand is not normal, and that's wrong.
That's true.
So now, like if you using belts, whips, and extension cords and hangers and things like that to wooden spoons, spatulas to punish your child, you have to think about what that can do to your child. And for me and my brother, it turned us into people who like you could say the wrong thing to us and we would knock your head off your shoulders.
But it also could do the opposite effect to kids. It could make them so sheepish to where like they're scared to death to ever defend themselves.
Yeah,
By
I mean, like we both went through like that period of time where we were just so shy, unless we were like in our own comfort zone,
right.
and but then like you be out somewhere and somebody say the wrong thing to you, and you just gotta and then take off running.
Exactly.
And
I
that, like, you just I just don't I would never want that for my son.
I definitely for my kids, they get me together often. I've explained to you guys how I yell and both of them hate it. Like it shakes them. And I remember when Maya was really little. I had my daughter at 19, so I mean,
You were
no.
still growing up. We get it.
Exactly. I didn't know what I know now. Even I had my son at 24, 23. And I was such a
Do you know how old you were?
I don't
How
24.
old are you today?
I was 24. Uh,
Thank
but
you.
what year was he born? No. I was 24. Even from 19 to 24, I can see how I was a much better parent. Like I understood more. It was a wider spectrum of things on what's serious and what's not as serious and things like that. So I appreciated the time with him, I think, more than I did with my daughter. Because at 19, you want everything right now, quick, fast, in a hurry. You want things to do this, and that. And with having a child like that at the young age, I don't think I appreciated the time I had with her enough. Not that I ignored her or anything like that. She didn't go anywhere out of mine and Aaron's sight ever. Like, I think Amaya it was after AJ was born, so she had to be like 5 or 6 before we ever actually left her for more than 24 hours. I don't think we ever
That's
left her for 24 hours. So yeah, that's just goes to show you guys like I just didn't trust me with my kids. But
I'm not
um
to show the world this, but I'm cropping out your daughter because I don't believe that people's kids should be on the internet.
what are you doing exactly?
Look at
Uh,
that, y'all.
so how you just gonna switch the topic like that?
Well, you said you're dumb. You were talking about you were 19. You were 19.
Oh, how young I was. Okay, so fun fact. Me and Topher met each other way back when.
10 years ago,
10 years
almost
ago.
11.
And yeah, and then we'd never seen each other or talked to each other since until this 2020. Like, I don't understand what happened. I have no idea, but here we are. It's weird, right?
That's
It's
so
so crazy.
weird.
We had a mutual friend. So
And it's so crazy because I was like growing my hair out then, and then I was like, apparently, I decided like almost 11 years later, that's what I need to do again.
the circle of life.
I suppose, but yeah,
Right. So, all in all, kids are just little humans whose brains and nervous system have not fully developed yet. So, if anything, we should be way more gentle with kids than we are with adults. They should get all the grace. They should get, all the patience because they don't understand. They're not built to just, listen on command. They're not servants. They're not your workers. They're not soldiers. They're humans, little
give
tiny
me of
humans.
me of the Lord.
He has the most random moments when I'm trying to
You
like.
said soldiers, and so it just made me think about that old song from the church.
I fired you once this week. Don't make.
Listen, y'all. She told me I had to go stand in the unemployment line while she was over there getting her hair done.
And I told you I don't know how you was gonna stay in the unemployment line when I don't pay you. So I don't give you nothing.
Yeah, she was not friendly.
Can I make my point, sir?
Yes, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Lord. So I highly suggest you guys educate yourselves on what the child mind is like, what's normal, what's not normal. I started reading articles and reading books about not conscious parenting, but like what a kid mind is like, what's developmentally staged okay for them. Because I didn't know. I didn't know that I didn't know this. You think, oh, I taught them that, they got it. Cool, boom, we're good, moving on. Nope. Their brain like it moves faster than ours does because it's so. I can talk, I swear. I don't know what just happened, but it doesn't hold information like ours does, like it not at the forefront. You may do something and it's sitting back there for years and years and years festering that we don't understand. So it's like I said, it makes more sense for us to be more careful with our children and how we talk to them. And I know we've made fun of like what's that, the nanny show, like British nanny lady.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I don't even know her.
I don't remember her name.
Nope.
But we made fun of her about like how she talks to the kids. She gets down low, gets to their face, timeout and stuff like that. But we do those things because those are the things kids understand. Those are the things that's how they process it.
And
So
those kids are usually a lot further off in life than some of us over here in America. Just saying.
they are. Or like even if you get far in life, you'll always have like maybe that anger issue that you can't really control that can one day possibly land you in trouble where it's something that you can't fix. You can't get that life back you once had because you lost your temper way too many times. Or you'll never get as far as you need to because you're that timid child still on the inside who won't stick up for themselves, who won't advocate for themselves. Now, I told you guys I had my daughter at 19. I yelled. I yelled because my mom yelled. I yelled because I had anxiety that I didn't know was going unattended to. And so now it's just a habit where it's a knee-jerk reaction to yell. And it damaged my baby girl. It absolutely did. She became this timid little, which she's not aggressive anyway, but she became this timid child who's afraid to speak up for herself, afraid to even ask me a question. And I didn't realize it. That hurts. It hurts to know that I played a part in that. So I am now trying my best, as I explained to you guys now, to move forward, to make sure that I'm talking at a better tone because yelling doesn't mean people are going to hear you more. All that does is stress everybody out. You can use a more stern tone without yelling. And I'm guys, work in progress. I'm practicing it. I was telling Toph the other day how my son broke my heart. He's such a happy-go-lucky kid, and
If you start crying,
he was off. I noticed he was off one day, and I was just like, what's wrong? And they got in trouble in the morning time, and we all made up and moved on. And I was like, you good? He's like, okay. I was like, I know you're not okay, so just talk to mommy. And I know he hates when I do this. So I pull his emotions out of him, and he's like, I just hate when you yell. And I was like, oh, buddy, mommy said she was sorry. I was like, and I told you, no, I'll do better. He's like, you keep saying that, but then you keep doing it. And he's right. These kids are watching our every move. We are literally like what they start in their day with. So what we do and how and what we say and how we say it matters. And these are things that I say to my kids over and over and over, and yet here I am still trying to fix these things as an adult. Nobody expects you guys to be perfect, but if you're trying, they can feel that. They will absolutely know that.
I
Yeah.
love when kids, like this morning, I dropped Riker off, and uh, now I had been waiting at for someone to come out at his preschool for
So
almost 20 minutes.
dealing with family business. It
But
needed.
anyhow, but I had been waiting for almost 20 minutes. And so finally, I just kind of lost my cool. And I was just like, he's just not going to be able to come today. Like, and she was like, well, our runner is talking to our director. I get that. That's not my problem. Like,
Right,
so, and so I was like, this is gift for his teacher. And she was like, so he's not coming today? No, like, if you can't take him back, like, I don't have time to just stand here and waste.
right.
So he starts screaming and he's like, I want to see my friends. So we get in the car, and like the screaming just got worse. And so finally I pull him out of the car, and he was like, Dad, it's okay. And he was like, you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. He goes, I'm okay. It's okay. So I was like, dang it. So we go back into the school, and
It
then there was
sucks.
another teacher who came in there, and she was like, have you been out here for a while? And I was like, yes. And Riker was like, it's okay. I was like, oh, all right, I got your number.
Listen,
And so, but she took him back, and and like on my ride home, I was like, it wasn't even necessary,
right. Like,
because I got him upset all because I was just frustrated and annoyed. And was it annoying that I felt like 20 some minutes of my time was wasted? Yes, but have I also wasted 20 some minutes of my time doing absolutely nothing? Absolutely.
right.
So I just didn't put myself in their situation this morning. And I also knew that, like, he doesn't like yelling. Like, he
Yeah.
like jumps, and like he doesn't like it. So but it was just like, it made like my heart melt when he was like, I'm okay, you're okay, like it's okay. And I was like, you are right. So we just have to think about, like, even if we're not specifically speaking to our kids, on how
Right.
we speak to other people in front of our kids, because he caught on to the fact that, like, I was not all right at the moment, and he was like, but you really are okay.
Exactly. And it's a lot of the times it's just it's like that. We're like ready to go. That's 90% of my anxiety. I'm like, quick, come on, y'all, we gotta go, we gotta go, go. I'm not exactly sure what I'm in a hurry to do. Like, but Aaron, my husband will even tell me I stress him out by doing that. I have no idea why I do it. I really don't, y'all. But it's something I'm trying to learn. It's just how we grew up. We grew up in a society like we want it now. We want it quicker. We wanted to look the best, the quickest, instead of slowing down. And if this year has taught us nothing else, it's how to slow down. Like nothing needs to be that big of a hurry, and you probably get more accomplished when you just take your time. Things will last longer if you take your time. So I'm definitely learning that as well. So, as Riker says, it's okay. It's okay. It's not
I
like a,
used to
but it. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. I was going to say, like, I like how you said things will last longer if you take your time, and it's
Mhm.
just like when you're eating something, guys. Like, if you are
I eat fast.
exactly, but and then you barely taste it, probably, like, and it's just like, enjoy. Like, if I have eaten like a snack, and my aunt, she drives me crazy, especially like if I'm eating ice cream or something. She's always like, "Did you taste it?
Hmm.
Like, do you even know, like, what color was it? Because like that's how fast you ate it." And I'm like, shut up, like, leave me alone. But she's like, enjoy it. Like, what are you like so busy like scarfing it down for, or like trying to finish this so you can go do something else? And for what?
Exactly. That's literally at the end of the day for what? So, um, I also want to talk about the schooling because how I say, like, it's okay. A lot right now, we're dealing with our kids dealing with a lot at school. And we've now conditioned them and ourselves that, grades are important. Grades are everything. You're supposed to, get good grades and go to school, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Grades are important. They are not the most important thing. My daughter is in sixth, my son is in first. If for whatever reason they're stressing them out because they haven't gone nowhere, they're getting like stir crazy in the house because they're doing remote learning and all this kind of stuff. It's a grade. My daughter, she had a hard time adjusting to the remote days and she missed a bunch of assignments. Now, don't get me wrong, she did them. We broke them up and she completed them. But I was like, Maya, don't stress. You already missed them. There's no sense. They said you can make them up. So let's move on. And if they couldn't, then she just couldn't. She learned a lesson. I don't know what to tell you. Natural consequences is probably the biggest learner. I've told you this on here before. I'm hard headed. I have to learn things in a natural consequence sort of way. Nobody can warn me out of me not doing the dumb thing that I shouldn't do. I try. I do. I try. But I just, I've never just been that person. Y'all can ask my parents, not once. Have I ever taken heed to anything? So, natural consequences is the biggest teacher. It's kind of like humble you before God does, because he's gonna, either way, you're gonna be humble. So, um, that's just something that I've noticed. These teachers are under a lot of stress, and I actually just seen a post this morning in the conscious parenting group about a
You
teacher.
and your groups.
Yes, hey, listen, some groups are amazing. Now, other groups just don't, because just never mind. But yes, I love my groups. Um, she said, she was like, like all this, they want to say that teachers should be more understanding and give more grace and all this. Like, if I give your kid too much grace, they're not going to learn anything, because at the end of the day, they did need to do the assignment. If they didn't understand it, then that grade is what they deserve. And I was like, you're absolutely correct, because when all this is over, we're going to expect you to take your job seriously and treat them just like that. So I don't disagree with you at all. I absolutely agree about the workload. Like, okay, if they're doing 27 classes, but at the same time, if that's what they have to do, we can't control what the teachers do. So teach your child to adapt, or make the rule in your house like, all right, cool. So what can you handle? You stressing out about this. It's not that much worth your mental health. So don't do that assignment. And then they still have to take that grade. They didn't do the assignment, but they're mental and they're happy. Cool. If my child is smiling and got a C because they just like, Mom, this is too much. Like, I feel like I'm gonna like, freak out. All right, cool. Don't do it. You take your C. We can move on. Because truthfully, it's kind of weighing the pros and cons here.
Okay. Okay. I will I don't agree, but okay.
I mean, tell me your point of view. So explain to me
I
what
mean,
you
I
think.
don't have a kid who is receiving like letter grades, but I also have taught. So I will say it is important because, and now one thing that I can say these days is that I understand that college isn't for every person.
Yeah.
But some things that we instill in our children from elementary school to middle school and especially in high school, you it carries on to college, or it
Mhm.
carries on into their work life. Now, the only thing I can say with that is,
Hold on.
regardless, what?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're like
Yeah,
frozen.
I paused. I think my camera just went out. So go ahead and keep talking. I literally, my camera gave up on me. So I think it died. Go ahead and make your point.
um, but no, I think that we have to remember that sometimes just because a kid feels a way today doesn't mean that they're going to feel this way in 2 years from now, 5 years from now. And so sometimes, like just like with us as adults, we have to hold ourselves accountable. Our kids need to be held accountable as well. And I do understand that every child has a different home life, which is
Mhm.
perfectly fine to a certain extent. Because you will have kids who are being raised by parents like, the Dukes over there, and they are okay with that. And
Yeah.
then you could have a parent like me who would just say like, no, you are not going to miss that assignment. You This is the class that you were in. These are the assignments that you are required to do, so you are going to do them. If you don't understand them, we will ask questions, or we will figure out a way to make it work or make this less stressful for you, but you will do it. And so I don't know, like that's kind of how I look at it, just because I I don't know, but I had a teacher one time tell me that my piss poor attitude would literally ruin my life if I did not get it together. And so
Dang.
sometimes like your mental health and things like that would be the reason you're still frozen, your eyes are closed.
Keep talking. I'm still trying to fix it.
um, but I mean, she told me that, and it was also in relations to like who I was actually hanging out with at the time. But like there were some assignments that I just wouldn't do, just or like I would talk a lot in class, and she snatched me together, and she just was like, "Let me just be honest with you." She was like, "You have a piss poor attitude. Your friends that you choose to hang around are no good for you." And like at the time, like my mom was a single mom, and she was like, "You don't have a choice but to figure this out." And so I did.
Um, that makes sense, and I hear you, but I think that that's also it just depends on the kid.
And that's why I hear you as well.
Yeah,
That's why I said like you just got to figure out what works for you. And
it's true because you know what, for my daughter that probably works, but honestly, I'm gonna probably have to put my foot in my son's behind because he's kind of lazy, and if he can get away with this much, he gonna try this much. He
yeah,
gonna see how far that's gonna go. So you're absolutely right, which just makes a really good point that we should absolutely make is that know your child
yeah,
because you cannot parent them the same. You can't, put punish them the same.
yeah.
Because
Because like my mom, she could never punish my brother and I the same. Like my brother, you would have to snatch his soul from here to Jesus to
take
like
his
you
soul
just
from Jesus now.
like you would have you there was he just did not care what you said
Yeah.
and didn't care what you did, and so like you really did have to basically pull him back together.
Did she
Me,
ever go?
he is. That's he is. I never thought about it like
Oh my god. All right.
that.
That's funny. But
And but
no,
for
that
me,
makes sense though.
you could
That
yell at me, and yeah, that was enough. Like my mom literally would raise her voice, and she would scream Christopher so loud, and I let me just straighten up real quick. And I
makes
just don't even know why I yell to this day because I hate it.
I,
I will get off the
well,
phone
that's
with my mom to this day if she starts yelling.
same. And I'm very specific to men yelling at me. I don't like that or cussing. Like I don't like people to cuss at me.
Yeah,
I,
me either.
I cuss and I yell. But Aaron, if he raises his voice, or Aaron doesn't cuss, so if he cusses at me, I'm like doubly like upset about it. Um, and yeah. And but that comes from childhood traumas. I grew up with men yelling and being abusive and aggressive. And so um I guess that was just my defense mechanism is to do it first, but don't do it to me. That's not fair and it's not right. So
You,
I'm not saying that that's right at all.
honestly, I was just talking to my mom about this the other day, and I was like, I do not know why. I said, but if anybody, well, just not anybody can yell at me, but if my mom or if Haley yell at me, it will take like I it gets so mad,
Yep.
and I'm like, you don't need to yell at me. And but like it does something to me, and I don't know, like, but yeah, but I was just telling her that the other day, and I was just like, you got to stop because I can't be talking to you all the time now.
Well, that brings me to my last point. I kind of want to go through this pretty quickly, but I definitely want to say it because I think it's important to talk about mothers and the effects that we have on particularly our sons that I don't think people understand. And vice versa actually, because I think it really mothers to sons and dads to daughters, because although it may be unintentional, for some reason there's just that genetic makeup where like that's where the heart, like direct you can speak directly to your heart. And mothers with most children, honestly, it's a mother's magic. I can't explain it. Sort of thing. But it seems to be specific to my son for me. And I've talked to a lot of mothers that have young boys, and they say this too. And I've seen a couple of things, read a couple articles just about how careful we need to be when we speak to them and how we speak to them, because we're setting the tone. We're basically forming their self-conscious.
Yeah.
um and that's a that's a lot of pressure, first of all. But it's a big responsibility and something that people need to understand when you're a parent. I didn't know this. I never honestly didn't pay attention until my son was probably, I don't know, 3. He just adored me. Like everything I did was just wonderful, and I'm just like, good lord, this is great. Like mommy's little soulmate. But by me saying that, there comes with what is it, with great rewards comes greater
Yeah.
responsibility. That's something like that. And that's just true. And just like these daddy's girls, dads have to be so careful about what they're speaking into their little girls, because not even daddy's girls, because I can sit here and think and understand like some of the things that my dad did and said, and how that is shaped me as the woman and my insecurities that I have because of what he did or didn't do. And I was a mama's girl. I wasn't even a daddy's girl. So that just goes to show you that it absolutely matters, whatever that opposite sex, opposite gender thing is. It's very important that you take caution and handle that with very much care, because it's going to matter. It's going to matter in their adult life. And I don't want my children to have a childhood that they have to heal from. Now, don't get me wrong, they're still healing from a few things. But we're going to heal it now. I'm not going to wait till my babies turn 30 before they start to feeling good and healing. I want my babies to heal now. I want your babies to heal now. So, and talk to them and apologize,
But when
please.
you apologize, be intentional about your apology and make sure with that apology you are doing whatever it takes to correct your behavior and that behavior that you addressed with them.
Can I give the example of the hitting? Remember I gave you the example
Oh
yesterday?
yeah.
So if keep whooping your kids and you're like, mommy, sorry, I had to whoop you. Let's fast forward to the adulthood, and your daughter gets into a relationship and a man keeps hitting her, but he apologizes and is sincere, and he does things to show that he loves her, so she knows he loves her, but he keeps hitting her, he keeps hurting her. That's not love. We're also teaching our kids. I get emotional, I can't help it. We're teaching our kids what love is. And I've talked to my mom. This is, me and my mom's relationship has grown because nobody ever taught her that she could be loved because she was her. She was supposed to appreciate that somebody actually loved her. And that hurt, but it made so much more sense why she did the things that she did. We are teaching these babies what love looks like, what it feels like, and how to give it. And that's important. It is so important in everything in life for them and whoever they encounter. So, with all that being said, I'm gonna get myself together.
I already told you earlier, don't be crying.
I'm surprised this is the very first time that I've cried. Well, no, if you listen to some other past episodes, especially the suicide one, I absolutely cried. But y'all could see me crying now. um so yeah, parenting is not, it's not
It's
something.
not an easy job, y'all. Like it just
Not, none of us have it figured out. We absolutely will make mistakes, but we can darn sure make sure that we're doing the research that we can to best parent. No, there's not a magical book out there on parenting, but if you can, get a book on how the child mind works, you can know how to better approach your child. It's like prepping for a game. You're going to watch the plays, you're going to practice them. This is what we're doing. And yes, shout out to all the first child, because you are absolutely a practice child and we're sorry.
and that's half my problems now, y'all.
Listen, my older sister has some stuff she needs to work out, and I'm certain it's because she was the oldest child, and she not only did she become the practice child, she was also like became the second mother, so she was like the protector of
Yep.
all of us too. So But
I don't know if the oldest child ever really heals. So if you are the oldest child,
don't say that. We're not even
no,
doing
no,
no, no, no.
I'm coming with
We're not
something.
speaking that. You will heal if you want to heal, if you do the work. But you're right. You ain't gonna heal with that attitude, Toker. Your piss poor attitude. What's that teacher's name? What is that teacher's name?
Mrs. Pursuto, and she got me together, man.
Listen, I'm gonna call her. You clearly need re-upped on your get together.
And I will never forget that day because for some odd reason she had been yelling and she had a blood vessel pop in her eye. So I was like, I took her more serious.
She was
I will
crazy.
never forget
Listen,
it.
my eyes start twitching. Y'all got to go.
No, I'm not saying that before like we honestly do end this. I'm just saying like the oldest child, there are just some things that like, yes, you will heal, but you heal, but knowing that like you were like the test baby.
You're forever changed for that. It's shaped you. Okay, that makes sense. I like that wording better.
Excuse me. Apparently, I should have really thought that one out before I just got attacked.
Words mean things, okay? So.
but yeah, no, I think that we have to remember that, and I think that, and especially as we see more active fathers than what we have seen before, like, no, like I always joke and I call Haley like perfect Patty because like it's not that she's a perfect parent, but I just feel like women intentionally parent a little bit better.
We're more intentional.
Yeah, and then compared to
not a better parent,
right?
But I think that stigma needs to change. I think that men should have the mentality of being a parent. Women grow up and we assume we're going to be a parent one day, maybe, possibly, but men don't have that mentality. And let me just go ahead and throw out a little education on that real quick. It may have something to do with the toxic masculinity that goes on in this world, why you won't let your son play with a baby doll because it's feminine, or, push a shopping cart, or how about play with mops and sweepers? Just saying, y'all, it's very normal things. It's just an adult thing. It's not a feminine thing. And let me be clear, Aaron will pick up a mop and a broom before I do. Okay, so...
I cannot stand you.
You love me.
Especially today. But
with my
no.
hair.
But no, I mean, like, you are right. And I just think that, like, don't get me wrong. Riker, he has his own vacuum sweeper, and it gets on my nerves because he doesn't turn it off. And so I'm just like, I'm going to throw this little Dyson out, or Santa can come and take it back. And he has his, broom and dustpan and things, but he also has 2 baby dolls. But I just think that those things are important because you just never know, like, where your kid is going to go. And you only can control what happens while your kid is with you.
Agreed.
And so when your kid is at school on the playground, that him being nice to that baby doll at some point helps teach him that he needs to be nice to that little girl.
There you go.
As when I'm like, whether it's me or Haley, like, like we're sweeping and cleaning, and he's like, I just want to be like you. I want to sweep. I want to do this. And so, like, beforehand, like, we didn't, like, boys just aren't raised that way. And, like, that's just what I mean. Like, you have to be more, like, dads just have to pay a little bit more attention and be more open to the idea of these new styles of parenting, because the way that your mom and dad did it, it wasn't always the perfect way.
Right. I agree. Thank you so much for saying that from a dad's point of view. I really appreciate you guys for checking us out and listening and continued support. It means so much. And I want you guys to have the happiest of holidays, however you choose to celebrate this season. I want you to be, in good spirits, have joy in your heart, and most importantly, enjoy your family the best way that you can due to the pandemic. I love you guys. And as always, be authentic to yourself and others, no matter what that looks like. Have a good one, guys.
Bye, guys.
Are you looking to finally get your podcast started? Or maybe you're looking to perfect the podcast you already have? Well, look no further. Duke's Multimedia LLC is here to help you with all your podcasting needs. We're here to help you grow and learn and make your podcast sound even more professional than you can imagine. Contact Duke's Multimedia LLC via Facebook or Instagram. Duke's Multimedia. Learn, create, produce.